DJ MTV.
Alright, my correct people, this is not DJ MTV News. Now, first time to visit this channel, you're highly welcome. How may hit that subscribe button so you're going to get more updates from us as they happen.
The PDP governors to champion the desire to have power go back to southern Nigeria. But you and your colleague governors of the APC took the decision to push hard for power to go back to the south, and you actually supported a southern aspirant during the presidential primaries of your party. Tell us why it was easy for you to come to this conclusion.
Honestly, it was not very difficult for several reasons. First of all, you know, right from 2019, after President Buhari was elected, some of us approached him privately and asked him what his succession plans were. And in one of the conversations I had with the president, he told me that, look, I have no succession plans. I said, Mr. President, you must be interested in your successor. He said, no, the democratic process will produce a successor. I said, no, sir, it doesn't quite work like that. You must have a thought, you must advert your mind to your legacy and who will preserve your legacy. And he said, okay, you have a point, I will think about it. So this was how we began the conversation. But throughout my conversation with President Buhari, up until I believe it was 2020, he did not even have a position. Then in 2020, I asked him a question. I said, look, where do you want your successor to be from? You don't have to anoint anyone. You don't have to pick anyone. I know how you think. You believe in this democratic process. You were converted from being a military dictator to a democrat when you saw this question. After 8 years as president, the next president of Nigeria, under our arrangement, our unspoken arrangement, must be from the south. I said, thank you, Mr. President. Can I go public with this? And he said, go ahead. People would recall that late in 2019 or early in 2020, I was the first governor to come out and say that the next president of Nigeria must be from the south. And so, you know, to be fair to Mr. President, he has been consistent in private conversations, even in conversation with some of us as a group. He always said, my next successor has to be from the south. So it was not very difficult for those of us in the APC, particularly the northern governors, to say, this is the president's position, and we don't need to go back to him. But what happened as the political process started was all kinds of games being played to take control of the party in a way to achieve a certain predetermined conclusion that was not very clear to us at the time. But one of the things that we pushed, and I must say that the Progressive Governors Forum mandated me at a point to go to the president and say, you know, we want you to tell us who you want as chairman of the party. Of course, as usual, the president said, look, why not all of them come out and we vote? We said, no, Mr. President, pick the chairman you are comfortable with. We will all support you. And he said the chairman should be from North Central. And finally, he said Senator Abdullah Adam. We agreed. Now, once that decision was taken, it was a very clear signal that the next president would be from the South. And so what we did was to say, okay, the current chairman, the last chairman of the party was from South-South, now is going back to North Central, so we flip all positions. South-South go to North Central, North Central go to South-South. That's how we did the rezoning of positions. So having established the leadership of the party and the chairman is Northern, it was simply logical for us that the next president will be from the South, and we were all looking at limiting the competition among the aspirants to picking a Southern candidate. What was of concern to us was at a point when some governors and some senior members of the party from the north began to get calls from some elements in the villa nudging them to buy forms to contest the presidency. That began to worry us. So some of us went back to the president. Mr. President, you know, what's going on? The president said, my position has not changed. So there were people that wanted President Buhari, believe it or not, outrageous as it may seem, there are people that were planning within our party for another northerner to succeed President Buhari. And for us as northern APC governors, we had to sit down, look at this situation, look at what we believe our forefathers would do. We are northerners. We are people of honor. We keep our words. And we respond to kindness with kindness. This is the culture, the political culture in the north. This is what Sir Ahmad Bello Sadon of Sokoto practiced. This is what Tafa Aliyu practiced. This is what Aminu Kano practiced. This is what J.S. Starka practiced. And we talked to ourselves and said, we cannot allow this to make headway. We have to take a position. And all of us, including Governor Badaru of Jigawa, who was encouraged by those elements to buy a form, took the decision that the presidency must go south. We sent a delegation to the president to reaffirm that, and we made it public. That was the second step. The third step was, okay, now among the southerners, who? Can we come to a consensus around who to support, or do we all go to the primaries? Because some of us supported Amechi, some supported Osimbajo, some supported Asiwaju, and so on and so forth, and Fayemi. So again, we had to have other rounds of discussions. Of course, we couldn't come to a deal. The momentum was from the Northwest. The Northwest governors, along with Senator Wamako, who represented Sokoto, met, and after several meetings and back and forth, we decided that we'll go with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a zone. And once that decision was made, Northwest had the momentum, Northeast followed, and North Central also followed to a large extent. And that's how we went to the convention quite confident that, you know, Asiwaju will have the numbers and the momentum. But we're even shocked by the margin, because it was not only the northern APC governors that supported him, but you can see he had support across the country. And he emerged as a national candidate overwhelmingly. And I want to assure you, as we speak today, all the 22 APC governors, including those that contested for the presidency, are solidly behind this presidential candidature of Asiwaju, and we are doing all we can to ensure it succeeds. But for us as northern governors, it was a matter of honor. It was a matter of just doing what is right. We had that too. The members of the National Working Committee called us and said that the national chairman had told them that the Senate president is the anointed one. And again, the northern APC governors asked for a meeting with the president. We went to the president. We said, Mr. President, this is what we are hearing. This is not what you have been telling us in the past 2 to 3 years. Is it true? And the president expressed shock and said, I am not part of this. And right there and then he summoned Garba Shehu to issue a statement that he has not anointed anyone. And he told us very clearly, I have not anointed anyone. Go and bring me 5 southerners, 5 candidates from
the 2023 presidential election, and some opinion polls put together Peter Obi of the Labour Party ahead of others. How will you rate the chances of your party's candidates in the face of this?
Opinion polls are distorted. Look, data analytics is one area that I'm in love with. When I was a student at the Kennedy School of Government, I was a teaching assistant for statistics. So I understand these things. I'm not talking as a politician or as a layman. I understand these things. The most important thing in looking at any opinion poll is the sample followed by the methodology. Okay? When your sample, when you have about 100 million registered voters and you are sampling 2,000 registered voters or 300 registered voters, I'm sorry, your results from day one are unreliable, they will have very high margins of error. And most of these polls are like that. What about methodology? Most of these polls, like the Bloomberg one, the ANAP one, the Ikonjo Iweala one, all used telephone. What percentage of the INEC voters register contains people whose phone numbers are in INEC's records? We have found out 31%. So from the beginning, you are starting with only 31% of the total sample of voters. So if you pick your sample out of that 31%, from day one, your results are dead on arrival. Okay? So I can take each and every one of these polls and deconstruct them because I understand what is sampling, I understand methodology, and those polls are a joke, with the greatest respect. Okay? We have done a poll with a sample of nearly 40,000 across Nigeria. And the results of the poll show that we are ahead. It's going to be a tight election. There are a large percentage of undecideds, so we all must work hard to swing the undecideds to our side. But we are ahead. How can Peter Obi win any election? Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto, 2% in Katsina, 5% in Kano. That's where the votes are. All states are not equal. The fact that you are doing 70% in Anambra State does not mean somebody doing 10% in Kano is not better than you. Kano is 4 million votes that actually happen. Anambra is what? The number of votes in Anambra is the size of one local government in Kaduna State. So all states are not equal. If you poll states and you make them equal, yes, Peter Obi will sweep the southeastern states. He will do well in South-South. Where else? He's not polling well in Southwest, other than a drop in the ocean in Lagos. He is polling in the Christian enclaves in the north. He's polling well, but how many are they? How many? Peter Obi cannot win the election. He doesn't have the number of states. He doesn't have 25% in more than, the last time we checked, in more than 16 states. He can't go anywhere. Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, and that's all he will be. This election is between the APC and the PDP because they have the footprint, they have the spread. Ethnicity and religious bigotry will not take you anywhere. And that's what the Labour Party campaign is about.
DJ LTV. DJ LTV.
People are people don't say no, they don't like us.
Welcome to DJ TV.
DJ LTV. DJ LTV. DJ LTV. DJ LTV.
Some of the delegates and ask them questions.
DJ LTV. DJ LTV. DJ LTV.